Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of MANDOMANIA. It is the Mandalorian review show brought to you by the new Force Order
For life.
podcast. We are a Star Wars podcast, and this show that we do, our sideshow, is basically a review show of the fantastic series brought to you by Lucasfilm and Johnny Favs and Mr. Dave Filoni called The Mandalorian. Now, season 1 is over. We've done 8 episodes of Mandomania. Go back, check it out on YouTube. The page is New Force Order. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go to our website, newforceorder.com, where you can catch all the podcast versions of Mandomania. Not only the video versions, but you can catch both versions, I would believe. And now what we're doing is we're touching base on the document series called Disney Plus Gallery. Thank you. Disney Gallery. So we're going to touch base on episode 3 called The Cast. Episode 1 and 2 was done. It's in the can. These are YouTube exclusives. So if you guys want to be down with the NFO for life, then you must check this out on our YouTube page, which is New Force Order. Now, I am 1/3 of your hosts. My name is the Greek God Papadon, aka GGP. Alongside with me, I have a medical droid and never looks in the camera, has a kung fu grip, and basically told us, hey, we got to do the show ASAP. I got other extracurricular activities I must attend to.
Yeah, baby.
And then I have a Sith Lord whose fan is louder than the engine on a Death Star. You got to kill that fan.
Holy shit, that is so bad.
Yeah, turn it off.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's actually a fucking jet that's flying low this time. Okay, but it's similar sound.
To get you?
It's similar sound.
It was an X-Wing that was flown by Kylo Ren, right there. All right, he's a vindictive, pissed off, malicious Sith Lord. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Dark Lord of the podcast, the Sith Ori, the Rampaging Reverend Kids, the Butcher, your boy Spiro, aka Darth Spiridon.
The Butcher. And I am smarter than 2-1-B, more technical than FX7, the God of Steel and Thunder. And the man who needs to get off this podcast as fast as possible because I got some ass on the table, Dr. Destroyo, Alex Arroyo.
Woo!
So we'll try to make this quick. This way the fans feel it's like your wife. Anyhow, I digress. One word. What'd you guys think of the episode?
Good.
Good.
Okay. I would say interesting.
Listen, what's better than Star Wars?
More Star Wars.
Exactly.
More effing Star. Yep.
Exactly.
I thought it was more fucking Star Wars.
It is, but the kids are right by me, so I didn't want to curse.
Okay, I got you. So the cast. So they break down the cast of this episode, starting with the lead of the story, which I don't know if you want to open up with your main eventer, but I guess they had to. And that's my boy Pedro Pascal, who calls himself a nerd in this episode because it was one portion where they were talking about knowledge, and he was like, "Oh, they got me the nerd." And then he proceeds to go along talking about how he was excited to be casted, but didn't realize he'd be wearing a helmet and no one would see him the whole episode, and joked around and said, "Oh yeah, people are tired of seeing my face on all these shows, so I guess they want to put a mask on me," which I popped for. I thought that was funny. And they went around the round table with most of the directors. They had Bryce Dallas Howard there. They had Filoni and Favreau, and they had Fujiwara Armbar. Was Taika there? I don't think I saw Taika.
Yeah, he was there. He smiled.
I must have missed it because I didn't speak too much. So, they wanted to speak about their, the Mandalorian specifically casted Pedro Pascal and his stunt doubles that were in there. And like we said before, we knew, John Wayne's son was one of them. What's his name?
Brandon Wayne and the other guy, Lateef Crowder.
Wayne and Garth. And it was funny because they had specific roles, each of those guys. John Wayne was the gun guy because he could handle himself with the gun in the fighting, and then the Crowder guy was apparently a capoeira martial arts guy, and he was doing all the ground fighting for them. He looked a little smaller than the John Wayne guy though, but I really didn't see much of a difference on the show between the guys that were there. I wasn't able to tell, despite the fact that Favreau and Filoni were like, yeah, we knew who was under the mask when we showed up because we specifically knew their I guess proportions.
The one thing about this episode that I liked they talked about how hard it is to act with somebody when you can't see their face, you can't look into their eyes. But the one thing that I was able to relate to, they were talking about the Mandalorian character and his body language and how him being still all the time meant so much more when he actually did move, whether it was a head tilt or he did the Batman, Michael Keaton turn, in the suit, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't still, that small movement meant so much more and actually grabbed your attention. Just like in pro wrestling, we always say less is more. There's no reason to throw 10 punches when you can throw one. It has more meaning when the guy's selling it like a gunshot. When you hit him once as opposed to hitting him 10 times. And then, he's not selling like he should be selling after being punched in the face 10 times. But I love that aspect. And it's funny because they were saying how difficult it is to act without showing your face. Meanwhile, I'm saying, bro, Rey Mysterio, Booyaka, and all the luchadors, Psychosis, I'm saying, La Parca, all these guys who have to tell a story with their face covered. They mastered this. So it was really cool to compare the two worlds.
Yep. You know what, bro? I totally agree with you. When you look at a lot of the wrestlers from Mexico, Puerto Rico, and other parts of the world where they have used masks, man, I've seen a lot more emotion from these fuckers that have their faces covered than some of the fucking top talent in the WWE, man. But the one thing that I kept thinking back to throughout that portion was this: is like, did they really need to dish out the money to have somebody like Pedro Pascal? I mean, if he really did anything, was mainly voice acting, because how much time in that armor did he actually spend?
I don't know the exact percentage. You're probably right. It's not as much as everyone thought it was initially. I mean, if you have to break it up amongst 3 people, I would say he was probably in the armor maybe 20% of the time, maybe 30% at most.
That's not a lot.
Maybe. Yeah. But the one thing for sure, though, everyone loves Pedro Pascal. He's a great actor, right?
A wonderful actor.
So
absolutely. For
them to start off a show about a character no one knows about, and no one knows what the show is going to entail, then they have to find a marquee name to put behind the mask so people will at least watch. And that's that first one's for free. You got to pay for the rest type of analogy. They give you Pedro Pascal's name, you check it in, you check out the first episode, and then you're hooked. Yep. Just that opening sequence in the bar, you're hooked, right? Very well done. But also his voice in the mask. I like when they were showing that one scene where he's like, I could bring you in warm or I could bring you in cold. And they start off like the actual scene in the episode, and then they show him voicing the scene behind the scenes. And like it just that graspiness, that seasoned veteran-esque type of Batman, deep voice, Yeah. As opposed to talking like Christian Bale. Spider-Man. That college humor makes you tremendously. You know what I mean? Yep. His voice.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Like his voice, and it entails, like, it is the character. Like, I can't picture the Mandalorian not have that voice. Like, you know what I mean? If you were to get Gilbert Gottfried to voice the Mandalorian, wouldn't be the same thing. You know what I
I don't think so.
So the one thing I did like that he did say is how he has to wear a mask and armor, and he kind of made it a metaphor and turned it all artsy fartsy. How everyone wears a mask and armor and they hide their true selves, and we got to get that out. And
Blah,
he made
blah.
the comparison, blah blah blah, but it made sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't just artsy fartsy for the sense of artsy fartsy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and
So
then
that's
they
cool.
You know
went,
what, though? Talking about artsy fartsy, I kept getting that sense from what's his name, bro?
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, man. It's like everybody's just having a great time showing their inner geekness, and he always took it back to, masterpiece theater, like, and it's
he's
up
a
to
thespian.
me.
You didn't hear what
But he's fucking awesome, bro.
dude. You didn't hear
What's
what
up?
they said. You didn't hear what Gina Carano said.
Yes. Yep.
How she gave the seasoned veteran his props because
Yeah.
Johnny Fabs is like, hey, come here, watch him. He's a superstar. This is what he does. This is how he acts. Listen to his voice. He commands your attention. This is a superstar. So you have to, the guy knows what he's doing.
Absolutely,
he's
man.
Apollo Creed, brother.
Apollo
You know what I'm
Creed.
saying?
He's
Hey,
also
I
Predator.
want you. I want you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he's the man. I kind of got the inclination they might have had a little sexy time behind the scenes.
I don't
But
know.
that
You
was
think,
just me.
you think he gave the hammer to Gina Carano?
Who knows? Or maybe she gave it to him. Who knows?
Yeah, probably
No.
at this age.
She was very humble, though.
Yeah, she put.
No,
him
she
over.
was. She was dope.
I felt.
And she said this is the first time in her acting career that she was able to actually get into character because the character was actually her, as opposed to her being something false, which was dope. And to me, I think she stands out. Besides the obviously Baby Yoda, the child, whatever you want to call it, the Mandalorian's always going to stand out because he's the ace of the show. But she really does stand out. Like if she was to go into her own spin-off series, it would definitely make a ton of money. And the one point in the episode I popped huge because I felt it in the Force. And I know once I say this, Doc's going to pop too. Oh, Doc just fell off.
Because of that, bro.
Jesus Christ. Looks like
You
his
showed
white
the dark side.
Let me add him real quick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is really professional. Again, his whack-ass internet.
Man,
Told you, you don't look into the camera. The camera gets mad at him.
that's what happens. And plus, a doctor should have no excuse for shitty fucking Wi-Fi. None at all.
Especially in that $1 million home.
Shame on you. Yeah.
Doc, you back? What
There he is.
I'm back.
the hell's wrong
Yo,
with you?
we were talking about how a doctor should have no excuse for shitty Wi-Fi, man.
Yeah,
Shame on you.
That's a good analogy you got going on there because I do have some shitty ass fucking Wi-Fi in this house. It's driving me crazy right now.
All right. Well, I was saying the one thing that I popped, I felt a disturbance in the Force during this episode. And when I say this, Doc, you're going to agree with me because I'm pretty sure you felt the awakening as well. At one point, was it Deborah? No, was not Deborah Chow. It was Bryce Dallas Howard. When they were talking about Cara Dune, a.k.a. What's her name?
Gina Carano.
Gina Carano. And she
See a
goes,
three-way dance coming.
she goes, Kathy Kennedy said every Star Wars character casts a silhouette that you can identify from a far distance.
Yep.
You see the silhouette of a certain character, you know who it is. And that's one of the key, aspects of being in Star Wars and becoming a great character in the galaxy far, far away. And Cara Dune has that, right?
Yep.
But when she drew, I felt this, the disturbance in the Force. When she said Kathy Kennedy, I heard, ugh. And from the other side of Elmont, I felt Spiro just go, ah.
Yo, you want to laugh, man? And when she said that, I actually said to the TV, what the fuck does Kathleen Kennedy know, man? Fuck what Kathleen Kennedy says.
Dude,
that fucking bitch. You know.
I told you, I felt it. I felt.
Have you noticed that shit though, man? Everybody that's been on the show talks about their love and their passion for Star Wars. When she talks, all I see is fucking dollar signs in the eyes, dollar
Listen,
signs in the ears, in the
she's
mouth.
a
You know what I'm saying?
great producer, the second highest earning producer in Hollywood history, behind Kevin Feige. So you cannot say
Okay,
anything
she's
bad
been
about
a
her.
part of a lot
She's a great
that
business
has nothing
person.
to do
Well, she's a
with
producer.
with shit. How many shit films outsell the fucking top films, man? You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't matter.
Anyways,
Doesn't
listen,
matter.
man,
All
I
I'm
don't
saying,
right.
is she was put in that position by George to make sure things run smoothly. She did a swerve and went heel and didn't pick up his scripts for 7, 8, and 9. Went along with the Mouse Overlord and made them billions of dollars on 5 films in a matter of what, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years that came out.
Sounds like a good turnaround to me.
So she's aces in my book, because if I had a movie studio, I definitely hire her to be a producer or head of the studio. But doesn't necessarily mean she's a good fan of Star Wars. She could just be a mediocre fan. That's why she doesn't speak with passion, because if she tries to fake it, you would see it. She knows she knows to stay in her lane and knows what she's good at.
What? She does not know how to stay in her lane. The only
in the
reason
Mandalorian
why,
show.
Let me explain this though. The only reason why she has stayed in her lane is because John Favreau and Filoni, they have so much respect for Favreau, Hebrew. I don't know. Anyways, there's gonna be a fucking hostile takeover coming. Okay.
Well, there's rumors that I heard online that there is a civil war going on now.
Yeah,
but who knows? I don't even want to talk about that.
We'll talk about that stuff on fucking Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
But anyway, so then they start talking about
a bank. Come on.
I'm sorry?
Doc's got a bang, so come on, man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Let me bang, bro.
Bang.
Sorry, brother. Sorry, man. You know.
So then they talked about Carl Weathers and how he was die in episode 3, and they were gonna bring him back with a prosthetic, and then they were testing it and it wasn't testing well, or they tried to do some screen practice runs and it wasn't looking well, and he just hit a home run and then they kept him alive. And then they asked him, we changed our mind, we're not going to cover your face. And he was like, what did he say? He said, I kind of figured that. Not trying to sound egotistical. He just figured everything that they were doing was hitting on all cylinders, So, and then they were talking. One part that I popped, I don't know. Go ahead.
You're on mute. I think.
Doc, you're on mute because you said, "Listen, and then you went all silent.
No, I'm good. I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah.
I was gonna say the one part I popped. The one part that I popped was when they were there doing the roundtable with directors, right? And they were talking about, I don't know which character it was. I think it was kind of a Cara Dune, but they were talking about it, right? And everyone said nice stuff about whatever, and then they said that how Boba Fett was taken from the man with no name, and they said, the brim of Clint Eastwood kind of mimics the visor of Boba Fett. The poncho to the side kind of mimics the cape. Then he goes, the spur sounds. Anyway, yeah. Someone just broke kayfabe without realizing they broke kayfabe. So that came straight from Johnny Fav's mouth. And then they said back in the day, they used to get real cowboys that became stars to do all these Western movies because they knew how to shoot guns, they knew how to ride horses, they knew everything. And then they said that now it's very similar to the martial artists who become stars because they're masters in martial arts. And then the camera pans to Deborah Chow, and I popped for some reason so hard. Go back and see it. I
didn't even notice that part. That's hilarious.
Yellow fever.
That's fucking hilarious.
So, anyhow,
that's hilarious.
I don't know.
But listen, I was a little disappointed that they didn't talk about the real star of the show, Baby Yoda.
What are they gonna say?
Listen, well, the question is, are they going to do a whole episode of Baby Yoda? Baby Yoda
Hey,
Mania,
Doc,
maybe.
do us a favor, Doc.
Yes.
Switch
yes.
back to your other phone because you're not on delay when you were on your phone. Now that you're back on your computer, you're on delay, and you were slowed up and then you sped up.
Yeah, got it.
Yo, now that you brought that up, Doc, you guys even want to bother talking about this, or should we save it for a Tuesday? The whole thing about the beef between Jon Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy in regards to Yoda, the baby Yoda thing. All right, okay. There he is.
There he is. Much
Sorry,
better.
boys. I got to figure this shit out before Tuesday.
So, yeah, they didn't mention Baby Yoda at all, which is fine by me because he's a sock puppet. You know, we don't go on the show and talk about Doc's sock puppet that he Gush is in all the time. Is one of those old Star Wars socks that from a kid.
Yeah, it's from 1983. My Empire Strikes Back Star Wars sock.
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt walks across the room by himself at this point.
Nice. And you go pew 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 pew.
Exactly.
All in the sock. All in the sock.
You ever seen that fucking meme? Something about when the fucking sock you fucking came in or something spits out a baby after 9 months or some shit.
You know, it was like when you find when you find the sock you've come in for the last 10 years, there's like a little baby inside of it.
Yeah. One of the fucking best memes ever, man. That shit's horrible, man.
The show just went off the rails. Okay, anyway, getting us back. So, Baby Yoda episode, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
You know?
I guarantee you the whole episode probably about Baby Yoda and how.
Yeah.
But they didn't touch base on. They didn't touch base on Werner Herzog being the whatever. What was his name in the show? They didn't even name him. The client. You know what I mean? Which was surprising because everyone loved him. So who knows? And they didn't mention anything about your abuela's favorite actor, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming they'll probably do another show with like secondary players. Like
the heels?
Yeah, the heels maybe.
The heels.
I mean, it makes sense if you do a villain show, right?
Right, because everybody on this show was a babyface, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you consider Grief Karga a babyface at any point, yes. I guess.
Well, I do. Mando! Your victory is my victory.
Yeah.
I celebrate you.
I gotta say from the beginning, though. I mean, you know, they're sitting there talking about Carl Weathers like he's fucking Meryl Streep. I'm like, yeah, take it easy, relax. It's fucking Carl Weathers. I mean, let's be fucking honest.
Jackson, baby. Action Jackson. How dare you?
Like he's fucking Meryl Streep. I was like, all right, bros, relax.
Yo, was it me or were these motherfuckers talking over each other worse than we do?
Little bit. The best is this. I love how they film this, and you know it's a work because let's say Favreau or Filoni's telling a story or saying something, and he's talking to them like they don't know because that's the premise of the show. So it's like he's talking to them like the directors don't know, and they're all sitting there like, with the smiles on their face and nodding and really, you know what I mean. Meanwhile, yeah, you're trying to sell it, but you know it looks forced. You see Tycho smiling with his little porno stash. You know what I'm saying? Like it's funny. I find it funny because I can see the work aspect in it. Meanwhile, I know they're all being passionate and truthful, but that's like me. It's like me trying to explain Star Wars to you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense. We all know that. I know that you guys know Star Wars better than most, and you guys know that I know Star Wars better than most. But for me here to try to school you guys, to try to explain something to you in Star Wars, and you guys sitting there going, you guys sitting back going, yeah, he's right.
Really? You don't say.
Wait a minute. Spiro looking back going, fuck you, he is canon. Oh, yeah.
Raven, right?
Yeah, Raven. Quote more, what?
It's all the work.
It's all the work. All right. Anything else in the episode? They kind of finished it. It went quick.
Oh, Yeah, I thought one part was funny when they talked about the spot where Pedro Pascal had to go to the hospital when he
Yes.
smacked into the plank coming out of the thing, and he was all bloodied up and ready. They walked him in. They were like, "Oh shit, get that guy in immediately!" He was fucking like exploded. That's hilarious.
The following announcement has been paid for by the new Force Order.
Hey, brothers.
Oh, what up, man?
I like the shirts.
I like your shirt.
I like my shirt, too.
You like my shirt?
Yo, let them know where they can get these.
Turn around. Oh. You can get them at the official New Force Order on Facebook, at NFO Podcast at Twitter, at New Force Order on the gram of Insta, and you can check us out on www.newforceorder.com or send an email to newforceorder@yahoo.com.
Or PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever ready.
Imperial credits are no good here. Buy the shirt. Buy the shirt. Buy the shirt. You know what I popped for? When they're like, you guys can't. And he's like, after, and then Filoni's like, it's like hockey. You got hurt. You got stitches. Then you came back on the ice. He goes, you came back in for rehearsal like a trooper. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm a pro wrestler. I have wrestled when I can't even walk because I hurt my back the night before in a match. I've wrestled where my hip has popped out of my socket and went back and continued the match. And because this guy got 7 stitches on his nose, you guys are giving him the freaking ticker tape parade? Get out of here. It's like ice hockey. Ice hockey's a work. It's like pro wrestling. It's real.
This guy, man. I got a paper cut and I finished that writing scene, guys. Fuck out of here, bro.
Dude, this one time I was doing a movie, like an independent film, and the guy who's playing the mafioso boss stubbed his toe, and we had to stop production. They had to get Band-Aids and everything because he stubbed his toe. I was like, you little wussy prick.
Who's
like,
that, Mike Verna?
No, it wasn't Verna. Actually, it was me, it was Stockade, and it was Brian Vitko, and I was thug number 5 or 6 or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And this guy, it was ridiculous. It was utter nonsense. He was such a prima donna. And then I realized how some of these actors and actresses, are not like pro wrestlers, where the show must go on and fight through the hurt. You know, well, but she's a fighter first.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So a lot of these guys are prima donnas. You know what I'm saying?
Please.
So.
What happened?
He said, what do you expect, please?
Oh.
So, anyhow, what else in the episode? Anything else?
Pretty much it. I mean,
no.
from there.
Yeah.
I like the deep diving into the episodes, man. I'm not gonna lie. I like going behind the scene. I like the round tables. I like the discussions. It's filmed well. It flows well. The stories are really good. You know, it looks like every episode we get a little cool story. We had a Filoni story last episode. You know, actually 2 Filoni stories. His Hire story, his Duel of the Fates story, and now we get this story by Pascal.
Yep. It's definitely been enjoyable. I mean, it's
maybe next story we'll get Baby Yoda. Like, I was in my trailer between takes and I had this bitch sucking my and
I said, you better keep going, bitch.
They said, do the hand thing, Baby Yoda. Do the hand thing. Oh, I gave her the hand thing. All right.
Yo, one thing that I keep thinking is, and I don't know if they did or not, but they need to put out a concept art book, man.
Yeah.
Those shits are beautiful, man.
Yeah, those are great. Those stills are great from the show.
Awesome artwork, man. Excellent. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens.
I think Sideshow is actually selling some of the artwork stills from the Mandalorian now. They put them on sale a couple weeks ago.
Cease and desist, motherfuckers.
No. Well, man, I think it's licensed. It's from it's lithographs from the art. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it comes crashing down and it burns inside. Let them know where they can find you guys at.
Find me at Dr. Dr_Destroyo, DESTRROYO Instagram, Alex Arroyo MD, Twitter, Alex Arroyo on Facebook.
You can find me on Instagram, Spiro_A, Darth_Spiriton. That's two different accounts, not the same one. You can also find me on Twitter as Handsome Reaper. You can also find me whenever my lazy ass feels like it, recording an episode of Irrational Rage. New episode coming Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometime next week.
A day that ended Y.
Yeah.
Well, you can find me at Greek God Papadon on Twitter, Greek God Papadon on Instagram, Demetrius Papadon on Facebook, Pro Wrestling Tees / Greek God Papadon for all your Papadon wrestling t-shirt needs. The YouTube page is Greek God Papadon. Most importantly, Tuesday night, we're going to record the main show, episode 63 of the New Force Order. Did we pick who's more over segment? Light side, dark side, right?
Yes, sir.
Light side, dark side.
So this week we're going to do the light side versus the dark side. You guys can send us your answers, your decision, or what you think is more over, which means idea what I'm talking about, or favorite, or whatever the case may be, at the email address newforceorder@yahoo.com. That's newforceorder@yahoo.com. You can find us collectively at NFO_podcast on Twitter, New Force Order on Instagram, official New Force Order on Facebook, the website where you can get merchandise of the New Force Order, like mugs, like t-shirts, like ponchos, like sombreros, like flamethrowers and mankinis and bikinis, soon to be eye patches and headphones and chancletas galore. we might even be putting out NFO 8 balls for guys like Chuchi. But that is newforceorder.com. Newforceorder.com. What was that? Newforceorder.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your ears. Thank you for your eyes. Hope we had the opportunity to entertain you. We obviously are entertained because we are dumb enough to laugh at our own jokes. And we love watching Star Wars, and we love talking about it. But most importantly, we love talking about it with you. So, we'll see you guys next week. What you gonna do when Mandomania runs wild on Jew? Mang, mira, mang.